Nine, eight, seven, six, five, four, three, two, one, go.
Good evening, and welcome to Believe in the Journey podcast, where I am your host, TRIVEDA Harris. And tonight we are going to be talking to Latanya Littlejohn about her book, After the Vows, a Wife's Story. And listen, you guys, I happen to be a contributing author of this book. And when I tell you it was an honor to be part of this book, but it's also a story and a subject line that we don't always talk about because you think about your wedding day, no one really and truly thinks about getting divorced or anything like that, but we're going to talk about the good, the bad, and the indifferent, and what it looks like for all of us now. So not only do we have Latanya Littlejohn, we have the other two contributing authors along with myself and Latanya, and that is Naja Scott and the one and only Miss Angela Thomas Smith. So, hey girl,
Hey, honey, how are you?
I am good. And before we do anything, we have to go to God in prayer. And then we'll get started on what led you to making this book. All right.
Okay.
Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for bringing us together each and every time we're in front of you. Let the words of my mouth fall upon the ears that need to hear. And hopefully, the ones that are listening tonight, and if they're going through a hard time in their relationship, their marriage, and they are looking to find a way out, but hopefully they can find their way back together because divorce is usually the last option, and some things are just unforgivable, and we know that. And we also know when it's time to walk away, but as long as they keep you first, they will be all right. But I thank you for bringing us together tonight, so let the words of my mouth fall upon the ears that need to hear. In your precious and holy name, Jesus, we pray. Amen.
Amen.
All right. First question I have is, what made you decide on putting together an anthology about a wife's story? And how did you even come up with the title?
So sometimes when we get married, it's our wedding and not, well, it's my wedding and not our, meaning you and your spouse. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and oftentimes that's what the marriage looks like. It's just as one-sided as the actual wedding day. I wrote
Mm-hmm.
from a personal experience. And just to touch on that a little bit. I met my husband when I was 7.
Okay.
I told him that I was gonna marry him.
You can't.
Uh-uh.
Yeah. We can't hear you in the studio, Tanya.
Okay, what do I need to do?
I'm not sure. Try to go out and come back in.
Okay,
Yeah, try to do that.
okay.
All right, you guys. I'm sorry about that. Didi, can you hear us?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can
Okay.
hear you. Angela, can you hear her?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you, ladies, for being here tonight. You guys contributed to this story as well. How was it, and what made you decide that you wanted to be a part of this anthology? Okay. Can Tanya say something real quick?
Something.
Okay. Can you hear her in the studio now?
Yes. And we can see her in the studio now.
Okay, cool.
Oh, you couldn't see me before?
No, it was saying you was offline.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Well, to run it back, I did this book because women often look at a wedding as being just their own and not hers and her husband's. And so I wanted to tell the story from a wife's point of view. Um, the beginning of the courtship, the engagement, the wedding, and unfortunately, the end of the marriage. And I know that for me, I met my husband when I was 7, and I told him that I was gonna marry him, and I did. Like we went through a whole lot of stuff, and the thing that stuck out to me the most, what really made me write the book, was how other people's feelings played a part in my marriage. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Other people's feelings were placed before that of my own, and I've had conversations with him where he would tell me, I couldn't force him to love me. I had to allow him to fall in love with me, which I had thought that he already had since he, proposed marriage or whatever. But as fate would have it, his reason for asking me didn't line up with what God had in store for us. And it was rocky from the jump.
Mm-hmm.
And so I know I'm not the only female that has gone through that. And there are some husbands that have gone through some things. Am I perfect? No. Was I a perfect wife? Absolutely not. And so, I didn't write the book to bash him, but just to tell my story.
And I agree with that. I think it's a point where you want to be able to share what you experienced as a wife, because you start out as being, the girlfriend, and then the fiance, and then the wife. And then once you go through those stages, and then you end up as being the ex-wife. And so I've been in all of those positions. And so that is where I wrote for myself. I wrote from being the girlfriend to um the fiance, to being the mom of our three children, then to being the ex-wife. And that journey in itself was a lot, because we were high school sweethearts and we were together for 13 years. And that was a long time, and it's just one of those things where you either grow together or you grow apart. And I think
Right.
that's what happened for us. Um, Miss Angela and Miss Dee Dee, what made you guys decide to be a part of this anthology?
Miss Angela can go ahead. You can go first. So for me, I am this was something new for me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but being able to share this journey, because for those that know that I was involved in domestic violence incident, and it was at the hands of my husband. So to be able to share this, openly share um, this journey, and to be able to talk about it, it was, I guess, a part of my healing and a part of me wanting to release some more things, because a lot of people, they hear me talk about the domestic violence, but they don't hear the ins and outs of it. So
Mm-hmm.
wanting to share a little bit more, and letting people know that, sometimes it's okay to walk away. We try to hide things, we try to cover up things, because we don't want people to see where we may have failed.
Mm-hmm.
Or where we may have, let some people down, or whatever the case may be. But knowing that we're okay with ourselves, and we had to do this for ourselves, and not thinking about what other people think, and being able to release that. So that was part of why I wanted to be a part of this, because talking about my separation, I would say, because the divorce is not final. I've been separated since, I can say, 2019, when I walked away from the marriage. There's been a lot going on in between that, reason why it has not been finalized. So just being able to talk about it, and being able to let people see what has been going on, and to finally let people hear my side of some stuff. It's basically why I wanted to share, and I thank Latanya for doing this, because it is needed. People need to be able to talk about divorce, because it is, people don't want to talk about it. It's shined upon, and we hold on to that, and to death do us part. Um,
Mhm.
a lot of people hold on to that, and they will do any and everything to try to save their marriage. When
Mhm.
sometimes it's just best to just walk away.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So,
Right.
thank you for that space, Latanya, to be able to share.
Thank
Yeah.
you for wanting to actually share your story because I do believe,
That's it.
I'm a firm believer that there's somebody's healing attached to
Mhm.
anything that we go through. So being able
Mhm.
to put it out there may save somebody's life. We never know how it may touch somebody. So I appreciate you for coming along and sharing your story.
Didi, same question. What made you
Okay.
want to be a part of this book?
Oh my goodness. So Tanya was gonna beat me down if I didn't. No, I'm only kidding.
I am
You know
not
that
a
girl
bully,
don't
baby.
play.
I am not a bully.
Yeah, yeah. I agree. I
She's
agree.
not above coming to Virginia and getting me. No. I think the main reason why I wanted to do it is because after being a part of the anthology with you all on adoption, it felt
Mhm.
therapeutic. It felt healing.
Yeah.
And so in order for me to be able to prayerfully get my next, I gotta heal from this one.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely wanted to be a part of that. I was, oh my goodness, I got with my ex husband in a very rough time of my life. My adopted mom passed, and she was my everything.
Mhm.
And I didn't want to lose anybody else in my life. So we were sort of dating at the time, and I just clung to him. I just stayed with him. And I think I stayed with him in a fog because I stayed with him we were almost married 21 years before I left. We were almost together for 24 years or so. And so when I left, it was a really rough time in my life. My family was going through some stuff, and I was trying to be that good wife. I was trying to be the wife that would stay by your husband's side. And I saw my parents, my mom get sick, and my dad take care of her. So I wanted to be my dad. I was going to stand by his side. He got sick. I was at the hospital. I was in recliners. I was in the bed. I was wherever he was. I was there. I wanted to
Mhm.
be that wife until I couldn't.
Yeah.
Until one day in my spirit, the Lord said it's over. Now, mind you, I had a sister in the hospital dying of COVID, and I didn't know. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I knew she was dying of COVID, but I was thinking when he said it was over, I thought he was saying she was gone. So I was like, oh no, Father, please don't take her until I can get to Virginia because I ain't able to handle that. You know,
Right.
I needed to at least be in the land of where my people are.
Mhm.
And he said no. And he showed my husband's face across my eye view. And I said, not my husband. I said, not married. He said, I said, no, Father, you honor marriage. He said, no, I honor those I put together. I didn't put y'all together. Y'all put yourselves together.
For people
He
to
said,
understand, if God is not included,
yep,
it's not
Exactly.
always
it's
gonna
not.
work. You
It's
know,
never
Exactly.
gonna work.
It's never gonna
Exactly.
work.
you can, yeah, it's not gonna work, and you can
Mm-hmm.
try, and you can try to force it. You can try to be like, God, I don't think you really mean to leave right
Mm,
now.
yeah,
This is my person. He's
yeah,
checked off all my boxes, or she's checked off
that
all
part.
my boxes, and
Yeah.
I'm not seeing what you seeing. And
Right.
Right.
we like now.
Mm,
I'm gonna stay a little while longer. And God
Or
mm-hmm.
like, all right.
my favorite
Mm,
thing was he didn't mean it. It won't happen again. And if it don't happen again, we good. And
Yeah.
then it
mm-hmm.
happens again. We
Uh-huh.
good. And
And
again.
Mm-hmm.
one thing I can say for me was when it began to affect our children.
Hmm.
And it was their well-being that let me know, okay, look here. This is no longer about me. We have three
Mm-hmm.
children, and you're willing to risk their safety, their home, their, being able to bathe, being able to, do all of the necessary things. And yeah, it's time to go. And I had heard myself saying many times before, if I have to have this argument with you again, I'm done, I'm leaving. And it was like that last time we got into a argument. It was about our bills being paid, and I heard myself about to start the same conversation again. And I was like, yeah, I'm not doing this. I'm done. And I
Mhm.
started making moves. And you know that old saying goes, you're not tired until you're really tired.
Tired. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I was tired. And
Yeah.
then it was not only was he lying to me, he was lying to my father, he was lying to everyone
Yeah.
else. And it was like, okay, look here, if you're gonna continuously lie and jeopardize your children, it's not for me. And so I got a phone call from a bill collector after he had just told my father and myself that he had taken care of our gas bill. And I just went down on my knees and I said, God, look here. If I'm not supposed to be in this space, you're going to have to make a way for me to get out because I don't have anything. I don't have a place to go. I don't have anything. Like I'm working, but I don't have the money to actually up and move. Like
Mhm.
you're going to have to
Mhm.
make it possible for me. And when I
Mhm.
tell you, within that week, I got a phone call from a family member that said they had a house. I said, okay. So I got a U-Haul truck. I was like, I don't have the money to get the lights turned on, but hopefully, I can call the power company or have it stay in my cousin's name until, I get my first paycheck. And I gotten a promotion in the midst of all of this. And my one of my coworkers, he ended up writing me a check for the power bill for $250. He was like, go ahead and move. And I was like, okay, I'm not sure when I'll be able to pay you back. He said, baby, I didn't ask you to pay me back. He said,
Mhm.
I need you and them babies to be in a safe space. And where you are is not where it's not safe. And so I was like, okay. So I got into the house and I was like, okay, I gotta get the water transferred. And so I called the water company and I was like, listen, I don't get paid until the following week. It needs to be out of the current landlord's name. So is there any way that you can keep the water on until I come in and physically next Friday and, get everything switched over and pay what I need to pay? And they said, yeah, baby, that is fine. We understand. And I was like, okay. And I said, okay, God, this ain't nobody but you. And in that moment, I was like, if I get here and I get settled, I know that I'm not supposed to be in this relationship.
Mhm.
I'm not supposed to be in this marriage. Now, mind you, we did separate. We went our separate ways. He was doing his own little thing. But it still
Mhm.
took me 3 years to actually get the divorce because he would not sign the papers. He would not. And we ended up getting into a physical altercation. Now, we never got physical with each other while we were together. Now, yeah, we would argue back and forth. And I'm the type of person, if I tell you stop talking to me, please stop talking to me. And I'm gonna walk away. Don't keep talking to me because that's just gonna irritate me and piss me off. So if I say stop talking. It's gone. And so we ended up getting into a physical altercation shortly after I had a hysterectomy. So I'm still
Mhm.
recovering. I'm still got incision stitches that are healing. And so we got into a physical altercation. I ended up with a big old golf size knot in the middle of my head. I had bruises all down both arms. And
Wow.
I let him know that I was going to the police station and I was going to file a police report. Now, mind you, in the midst of all of this, he was doing crazy things during our separation in the beginning. Like he would show up at the house around 3 in the morning, and just getting upset with me, slamming my door because I didn't want to talk. And I'm like, listen, sir, we're,
Wow.
we're not together. You've moved on. You seeing somebody
Mhm.
else. Let me just do what I need to do for the kids. And he was like, well,
Mhm.
if I can't have you, I don't want none of this. I'm like, okay, but you got 3 kids with me. So we need to, do what we need to do for them. Me and
Mhm.
you, we're over, but that's where it goes. So
Mhm.
it's hard to walk away when you truly love somebody. But when
Right.
you
Mm.
love yourself enough, you will leave. Because I literally I lost myself in that marriage. And I say that because I was more focused on him. I was focused on our children. So I didn't know who I was anymore. I
Mhm.
didn't know anything
Yeah.
about, what I like to do. And I even went to
Mhm.
therapy to try to save our relationship, to save our marriage, wanted him
Mm.
to participate in therapy with me. He would never go to therapy, but he would always be at the house waiting for me to get home to ask me how my therapy session went. And did I talk
Wow.
about him? And it's like, okay, had you gone with me, you would have known what the conversation was. But since you wasn't there, there's no reason for you to ask me.
Uh-uh.
Right.
You're not participating. So, it's
Exactly.
like I started going to church. I started, doing I'm like, okay, look, you can participate. You can do all of these things with me. No, that wasn't important. So it's like, okay, you really didn't want to save this marriage. But then when we get separated, here you go not wanting to sign the divorce papers, but you don't move
Uh-uh.
on. You sleeping with
Uh-uh.
somebody else. It's a
That
possibility that
part.
this woman's child could be yours,
Uh-uh.
and you
Uh.
don't know and she don't know because she's still sleeping with her husband also. So you
Uh.
got all of this that's going on, but you
The
don't
myth.
want to sign the papers for me.
That part.
And then you turn around and show up at our divorce hearing when I finally do get to serve you, because Lord knows the way I had to serve you, which was myself, because Jesus. You and the baby mama show up at the divorce hearing together.
No. No.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
no.
Show up
Oh, oh
together
my God.
at the divorce
Wow.
hearing. But I was in the
Wow.
wrong. Sir, come on.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
Come on now. Come on now.
so I would
Wow.
say,
That's wild.
I'm gonna ask this question. Do you think that the wedding day is the beginning of the marriage, or do you think it's the end of the marriage?
For me, it was the beginning of the end. Um,
Okay.
when he
Hmm.
proposed, he proposed September the 11th when the planes hit the towers and whatnot, and gave me this spiel about not being alone, and it was what it was. The
Mm-hmm.
morning of the wedding, everything that could have possibly went wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I lived across the street from the hair salon that I was getting my hair done.
Mm-hmm.
This lady decided to show up an hour and a half late
Oh,
after, after the appointment that I had made. That was clue number one.
okay.
So, she did my hair and, well, backtrack. She came in with her breakfast and told me she was gonna eat real quick and then do my hair.
Oh,
So that
okay.
Oh
yeah,
no.
so that was instance number one. Number
Okay.
two was I called my mother-in-law to see if the husband to be had gone on his merry way to go, and so he could be prepared somewhere else, because she said she wanted me to get dressed over there. And
Okay.
so um she was like, yeah, he gone. And I said, okay. And as soon as I got ready to hang up the phone, I hear him laughing. He in there having a good old time watching Saturday morning cartoons. And I said, you know what? I ain't coming. I started crying. I was like, I'm not coming. And she was like, you better get out of this house because she talking crazy. She says she not coming, and I done put my money in this wedding. Y'all getting married today. And so um
Mm,
Mm.
on the way to the church, I didn't have anybody to walk me down the aisle.
okay.
So my mother-in-law's boyfriend at the time agreed to walk me down the aisle.
Okay.
Mm.
If that by itself didn't scream don't do it, I don't know. But then we had a triple wedding. We
Oh,
got married, his aunt and her husband got married, and his first cousin, which is his aunt's daughter, and her husband renewed their vows. Um
oh, so y'all had a triple ceremony going.
What?
That wasn't even
yes,
about y'all at this
It
point.
really wasn't.
yes.
But
So
okay, so continue on.
Well,
Continue on.
okay.
As I'm
Wow.
walking down the aisle, I hear the Lord just as clear as I hear you guys. And he was like, don't do it.
And
Don't
you
do
said
it.
I don't hear what you talking about. I gotta see for myself.
Right. I said, this man
I
loved
don't know
me.
what smells until I
Going
know it
down,
smells.
Mhm. Like I
going
gotta
on
see for
down this
myself.
aisle. Right. I'm gonna trot on down this aisle and marry this man, and we gonna live happily ever after. We gonna have some beautiful babies, and
Dear God.
none of that happened. And so, um, when we
Wow.
said our vows, I heard the Lord say, "Okay, be stupid. I'm gonna show you." And I'm like, I'm thinking to myself, I have slow moments. I'm a blonde for real up under all of this. And
Mhm.
so I said, show me what? Because that man was good as gold to me before we said I do.
That's usually
When
how it goes.
when
That's
we
usually
said
how it
I
goes.
do, it's like he morphed into another person.
Mm.
And when things got physical, it was always my fault. I made him do it. Um, he would shower me with gifts and things of that nature. And I deal with abandonment issues because I'm adopted. And
Mhm.
so I felt like if I leave this man, who's gonna love me?
Right.
My thought process was my mama gave me away. She didn't want me. I was adopted into a family of people that didn't really see my worth. And I'm like, okay, so I done married a man that don't really want me. He married me to piss somebody off and make them jealous, which it did. It worked. Um,
Mm.
but
Mm.
hindsight,
Mm. Mm.
all is said and done, after the walk away, after I walked away, I walked out, she walked in. So it's they're back to where they needed to be. They both of them may say that they don't deal with each other on that level or whatever, and he's just looking out for her because she ain't got nowhere to go, blase,
Well,
blase, blah.
as my brother always say, well, I don't care who tell it as long
Who
as it
tell
gets
me
It's
it's
told.
gonna be
so.
told? And the thing of it
Long as
is,
so.
like, I'm so
Hmm.
far removed from it that I don't care. Like,
Mhm.
I moved to Georgia. So,
Yeah.
I mean, and he and I had a conversation. He was like, "So, when you coming back?" And I told him, I said, "I told you after I left you the first time. If I leave again, it's a wrap. I don't do three times and it's a wrap. Two, the
Well,
first
I left
time,
the first time. I didn't go.
you know what? I didn't have
Sir, I'm
anywhere to
sorry.
go. I didn't have anywhere to go. I wasn't working.
Mhm.
Because he had told me I ain't have to work. He was gonna take care of me. So that gave me the big head. I was like, yep, I'm gonna sit at home and do absolutely nothing. But and I did sit at home most days and did absolutely nothing. And then I had to get a job.
Mhm.
So um, but none of what I've gone through has changed my mind about love. None of what I've gone through has changed my mind about what real companionship would look like. I do believe that I'm supposed to be somebody's wife. I don't know whose. Um, Me and God ain't got that far, but it's I take what I learned from being married over 20 years and things I settled for. I put everybody and everything before me.
Mhm.
And I
Mhm.
finally got to a place where I'm like, if it don't make sense to me, I can't do it.
Mhm.
Like,
Mhm.
I'm not, another man will never put his hands on me again, because if he do, it's gonna be some slow singing and flower bringing, and anybody
Mhm.
that know me know what that means. So,
Mhm.
but
Yeah.
I just feel like I deserve better. I
Mhm.
feel
Mhm.
like he deserved better,
Mhm.
because I wasn't what he wanted to start with.
Yeah.
Um,
Mhm.
I was
And see, I
convinced.
know I wasn't what my husband wanted, my ex-husband wanted either. Because number
Yeah.
one, I'm not the right ethnicity, if I'll say that. I'm not.
Mm,
Yeah. I,
right,
I
right.
didn't fit. what he liked and what his preference was.
Mm.
However, I speak like them in a
Mm.
sense, and I'm not the typical, ghetto
Uh-huh.
fabulous,
Right,
black woman,
right.
and
Uh-huh.
I'm not super dark
Mhm.
either. So,
Mhm.
I was aesthetically pleasing in
To
some
the eye, yeah.
aspects. Yeah. And then I had the hips and the curves and the things that
Mhm.
got him, and then the way that I speak was along the lines of what he was used to, but then it
Mm.
looked different, and
Mhm. In
and
a different pack.
so yeah, so every woman after me has been
Mm.
white,
Mm.
and so
Mm.
that was his preference. And when we were separated, like in the beginning, and I found out, that he was cheating while we were separated and everything, and I was happy for him. And the first thing out of his mouth that he said to me was, "Well, she's not black." I said, "I know." He was like, "What you mean?" I said, "I know I wasn't your preference." I said, "So I wouldn't expect you to be with anybody
That's
any
not a
different,
surprise.
And he was like, "Well, what you mean by that?"
Hmm.
"Sir, I know you. I just
Right,
happened to fit in the space that you had me in for the time that you had me, but I knew I wasn't your preference. That was never an issue for me, you know." And so it was just one of those things where you tend to know, and you tend to, go through
look
your
over
own,
it.
yeah, and you ignore it, and you just go on. What do you think was the final straw? Like the final straw for me was our kids, and and going through the lies and all of that was just literally the last thing, and it took me some time to get to a space to where we could actually be in the same room together, and me not be like, don't look over here, don't say nothing, don't breathe the same air that I'm breathing right now. I was in that space like, "Sir, don't breathe my air. Like, we in the same room, but I don't want you breathing the air that I breathe. So just go over there, wait till I go out, and then you come in." That's the space that I was in for a minute.
Right.
And so it was like, okay. And then he would tell so many lies. Like, he would say that I was keeping the kids away from him, and sir, you not even trying to spend time with them. Like, and so it got to the point where I would hear so many different stories, and that's why it's like now when I hear stuff, I'm like, okay, we on season 2, episode 4. Okay, cool. So I don't even get upset about it no more, because I don't even be knowing the stories, because I be minding my business. And so when people would be like, "Well, he said that you won't let him get the kids," okay, but you see me with the kids all the time. You see me taking them to the barbershop. That's something they daddy's supposed to be doing, right? So you're not talking to him, but you gonna blame me. Okay, cool. I said, "So
Mhm.
whatever he telling you, that's the story." I said, "I don't want to hear
Mhm.
nothing else about it." So then when his
Mhm.
friends started confronting him about, "But you said Travita don't let you see the kids, but I always see her bringing the boys to football practice, going to
Mhm.
get a haircut. I don't never see you doing none of this." So it was always, and so I'm not about to argue with you, sir. Whatever story you want to tell, we could be on season 4, episode 5. I don't care. Whatever he told you, it's new to me, because I ain't know nothing about it. It's just, when you get tired and you're ready to move on, you don't
Hmm.
pour all that you had into this person. You love them for who they were, not for the any expectations, but you do expect to grow together. You expect to build together. But if you got one person on this end and the other person on the other end, and you're not finding common space, and anytime we would have a disagreement and I would express how I felt, it was always, "Well, you don't really feel like that, sir. I'm telling you, you don't get to tell me if I stump my toe
How
that
I
it don't
feel.
hurt.
Right.
Like,
That part. That
you
part.
didn't stump your toe, I did, so the pain hurts." And
That
so he
part.
would always say, well, I don't think so. But then we would have a conversation. Well, you just make me feel so stupid. I can't make you feel a way that you already didn't feel. That ain't got nothing to do with me. So if I'm telling you something, well, you always using these big words. Sir, I'm using the same words and the same vocabulary that we both have read before. So it's words in the English language. Well, you just make me feel so. Sir, you went to private school. I went to public school. You've had more access to a better education than the
Mm-hmm.
one that I had. So how am
Mm-hmm.
I making you feel smaller than
Some
what
kind of way.
you
Mm-hmm.
already feel? That's a personal issue. That ain't got
Mm-hmm.
nothing to do with me. But he would always say that. That's why I don't like to talk to you. Okay, well, let me break it down to you in the most basic terms that I got. Because I don't know how else to communicate. What you did, what you said hurt. Now, if I step on your toe, will that hurt you? Yes. Okay, I'm not going to feel the pain, but I will cause the pain. Just like you are causing me
Exactly.
pain. I get to tell you that you caused me pain, but you don't get to tell
Exactly.
me that it didn't hurt. Just like
Right.
I can't tell you that what you did or what you said didn't hurt me.
Mm-hmm.
How is
Exactly.
that complicated? How can you not comprehend what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Like, just don't talk to me then because I'm not understanding. I don't know how to break it down anything further than what I have. And you mad at me for this. But now we're in a space
Crazy work.
that we can still
Crazy
talk to
work,
each
boy.
other. Yeah. We can talk to each other. We can be in the same space together. Now, will I still call him stupid? Yes, of course. Absolutely. And he knows that I will. And so,
Everybody knows that you will.
Well, I
and
definitely I could not be in the same space with mine. I don't want to be no I don't want to be 500 500 miles within the person to be
Mhm,
honest, just to be
Mm-hmm.
honest. And I'm like Latanya, it was the beginning of the end that
mhm.
day.
At
And
the
like
day of the
Latanya,
wedding.
I had so many signs that I was just dumb. And I could
Me
count it
too,
to like
girl.
I could count
How old were y'all when y'all got married? Because I think that
so
plays a major part too.
I was in
I
my
was
30s.
23.
I was in my 30s. I can say I
Okay.
was in my 30s. But I was in a place. I was in a very dark place.
Okay.
It was a time that so I didn't grow up around a lot of people from Anderson, South Carolina, because I moved away. So I live in a small place called Levelland, South Carolina, which is in Abbeville County.
Okay.
If people know the geographics, they know that Abbeville and Anderson are two counties that sit beside each other. So I grew
Mhm.
up on a farm pretty much. Everybody that lived on my street was either my first cousin or my second cousin. There was no outside people. Everybody on that street was
The
marked.
family.
It was family.
Okay.
Was family. They was either my grandfather's children, grandchildren, or his brother's grandchildren and children. That's all lived on our street.
Okay.
So I grew up in a kind of I guess you could say we were kind of cuddled. um,
Mhm.
we didn't have to experience a lot, but when my mom passed, I had the opportunity to go and live with my dad's side of the family. I ended up living with my aunt, so I spent about 2 years in Anderson. So it wasn't like I knew a whole lot of people there. But when
Okay.
I came back to South Carolina, Anderson was the place that I came.
Okay.
I had been living in Atlanta, so when I graduated, I went off to junior college. I actually ended up in North Greenville. I did not like it. My sister had moved to Atlanta. So when I decided that I was not going back to North Greenville, I went straight to my sister's house. I said, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm not going back there.
Okay.
Ended up getting a job at Hardee's, and every day I would come home. I didn't know nothing about no HBCUs. I didn't know nothing about Morris Brown, Morehouse, Spelman. Didn't know nothing about that. But I knew I knew I played basketball well enough to be on somebody's team. So I came
Mm-hmm.
home every day, and I would call those schools. I called Morehouse. They said we are all male school. I said, oh, okay. I didn't know that. Um, a long story short, I ended up at Morris Brown College. Ended up on their basketball team. Ended up just experiencing life. Um, Went through some hardships. went through some things, ended up having to move back to Anderson, South Carolina.
Okay.
So I was in a real dark place. And when you're in a dark place, it seemed like everything is just blurred. You just can't
Mhm.
see. You can't see
Yep.
no farther than
Cannot.
your what's in front of you. You can't see
Mhm.
Right.
down the road. So that's where I
Mhm.
was.
Okay.
Mhm.
Long story short, I ended up dating this person. We dated for a short period. He seemed like the person that I wanted to be with. He seemed like that person. I mean, he drew to my family, and we just seemed to be getting along. It was no arguing, no nothing. So
Mhm.
into the relationship, there was an incident where the daughter was molested. Um,
Mm.
and matter of fact, if this wasn't a warning sign for me, um, I don't know what was. The day of the wedding, we were at the sheriff department pressing charges on his brother. Hmm.
Oh,
Oh
wow.
wow.
So
Wow.
if that wasn't a warning sign, we almost missed the appointment because we didn't get married in no big old lavish thing.
Mhm.
Mhm.
We my great uncle actually married us. My grandmother's brother.
Okay.
Mhm.
He actually married us. We had witnesses and things of that nature. Um, but it was no big old ceremony. We had a get together afterwards at matter of fact his folks' house.
Okay.
Mhm.
And I tell you, that day was just crazy because we spent the majority of the morning at the police station at the sheriff department.
Wow.
And even going into that, I had been called so many things, but a child of God, outside
Mhm.
of my
Mm.
name, because that his daughter actually, she actually called me and told me about the situation. Um,
Mhm.
she said she had told several people about this situation. No one was man or woman enough to speak up for this child.
Mhm.
Um,
Mm.
and I felt like it was my duty. Um,
Mhm.
Matter of fact, let me tell you how God worked. The Her track coach actually worked for me because I did a summer program where we fed low income communities throughout Greenville, Spartanburg, Abbeville, Anderson, Greenwood counties. So
Mhm.
he was one of the monitors that went out and monitored the locations or whatever, as a part-time job. Not only that, he was also a minister,
Oh, wow.
and he
Wow.
taught at Malden High School. He was a teacher there. He coached there. So I just one day I was just like, do y'all give pregnancy tests to y'all coaches? I mean to y'all track people, because she ran track.
Mhm.
Well,
Mm.
they started calling the girls to the office. They had to take they drug test, and with the drug test
Ooh.
they gave them a pregnant test. Well, she come up pregnant.
Mm.
Oh, wow.
Oh wow.
So when
Wow.
she come up pregnant, get it had to be investigated. So
Right.
that day we ended up at the sheriff office pressing
Wow.
charges on her brother. But
Mhm.
then 2 years later we found out it actually was not her brother, that her and her mama had some things going on with the stepdad. Huh. Yeah.
Oh,
Dear
So yeah.
God.
Wow.
It was
Wow.
a lot, but if that was not a warning sign, to not do, to not get married to them, to him, and to that family, because
That
it
family.
wasn't like I just married him.
Yeah,
Because
you got
when we
it.
said I do, it seemed like
Mhm.
everybody had something to say. It was always somebody got to say this, somebody got to say this. So everybody
Mm.
was running our marriage except for us, and that became a
Mm.
problem. We argued a lot. It wasn't so much of physical until that night.
Mm.
Until that night,
Wow.
that I experienced my domestic violence. But I tell anybody, watch the signs.
yeah.
You know,
Because we're there.
still um decide to do it, but once you get in it, you got to still value yourself. You got to know your worth. You got to understand who you are, and you cannot allow anybody, I don't care who they are, to discredit your worth, discredit who you are, and put you on the back burner. Oh, you if I am your good thing, because the word says a man that finds a wife finds a good thing and finds favor with the Lord. So if I
Mhm.
am your good thing, then that means I should be put in the forefront, and that I should be first in everything outside of God.
Mhm.
Right.
Mhm.
So when you're not
Absolutely.
seeing that, it's a problem.
Yeah.
It's a
Mhm.
problem. And
It
Mhm.
we have
definitely
to stand
is.
up. Yeah, we have to stand up
Mhm.
and know our worth, and be like, oh, I'm not taking this. So people understanding that divorce is not evil. Divorce is not bad. Divorce is, I mean, it happens. And it
Mm-hmm.
happens to the best of us because we human. We
Yeah.
make
Mhm.
mistakes,
Right.
and sometimes we allow our flesh to rule us instead of listening to the Holy Spirit, instead of
Mm.
listening to that thing down in our gut, because
Mhm.
it come from the gut and it be kicking
Yeah.
you. And you be wondering why you be having them aches sometimes, you be having them stomach aches, you be hurting
Mm-hmm.
around your heart,
Mhm.
yeah, that be your inner spirit letting you know that something
That
ain't
you
right.
done messed up.
Mhm.
Something
Yeah,
ain't right.
and
Mhm.
You're
God
doing something
is
that you shouldn't be doing. And
God
we
is
just
gonna
gotta
keep
learn to
getting
listen.
you until you
Exactly.
actually listen. He gonna keep
Mhm.
giving
He ain't
you
gonna let
And
up
it gets worse. It gets
because he
worse.
already knows if
because
we don't
he gonna be
understand.
like, you didn't listen the first time. All right, let me go and do something
Yeah,
else. And you
because he
did it
already
the
We'll
knows
second
the
get
time.
back
plan
to
that he
answer a
has
little
for
bit.
us. That
Yes,
he
Mhm.
mapped out for us, and then because but he let us make these decisions because we have free
that's
will.
where
He
that
give us
free
free
will
will,
come
Mhm.
on.
so he let us make
Mhm.
these decisions. But his plan is already mapped out. He gonna say, okay, well, let me see how long she gonna go through that. How long she
Hmm.
willing to go through that. And when he get
Mhm.
tired of
You
allowing
be
you to go
rerouting
through
that
it,
GPS,
believe
and
me,
I'll be like,
he'll make a way for you to get out.
Yeah.
yep.
He keep making a way. He'll keep making a way.
Mhm.
He'll keep making a way. But sometimes we keep going past that way. We'll go to the left. We'll go to the right. We'll jump up and down instead of just going through that door that he don't
Yep.
open
Sometimes
for
real
us.
smooth.
Yep.
Get ready to
'Cause
slide straight through that thing.
yes, he will make it smooth. It's smooth as butter. If you just willing to just go through and you will slide through,
Mhm.
like I'm talking about, like you sliding down that slide at the fair.
Exactly. And it's like we get so hard headed and so stubborn because it's always, well, God, I don't think that's what you trying to tell me. I think this is the one for me. I think,
Hmm.
this my person. They checked off everything that I was looking for. He got the right, and it's like God said, I ain't said none of that. That's your
Anytime it begins to be hard, anytime it begins to be
Mm.
anything but peace, you gotta understand that it's not of
and you and that's the thing. And it's like I have now a clear set of non-negotiables. Like I stand on them. Either you gonna get with them or you don't even waste your time. Cause my negotiables are they there. Like I'm not tolerating disrespect in any capacity.
That's it.
I'm you can talk to me in a nice tone, and I can talk to you in a nice tone. If we can't find a compromise, then we gonna go to
Mhm.
God first. Because sometimes I know I'm very stubborn when it comes to certain things, and I am very impatient. Like, okay, y'all know I'm engaged now. And so I was in traffic the other day. I was telling you this about this Didi the other day. And so I was in traffic, and I hate to be, stuck in traffic. But they're working on the roads in my area. And so I was coming home from looking for a dress for an event. And so I was coming home, and I turned on the road, and I was like, oh Lord, it's traffic. And I'm like, okay, well, if I can get up here, I can actually go around. But if I go around this traffic right here, it's still going to take me the same amount of time to get home versus just staying in this lane that I'm in because it's just one lane. So as I'm sitting there, there's another car that's very impatient. The other cars, you see the sign up there that tells you to get over. You always got those little idiots that want to rush past or whatever and try to get over and help somebody
Mhm.
let them in. Well, the car was doing all of that extra stuff. So I'm sitting in the line, and I'm like, God, I get it. I get what you're trying to say to me in this moment is being patient because I was supposed to move already, but I've still been here. but there's been things that have happened that I needed to be here for, because number one, my son got sick, my daughter is expecting another baby, so it's like I'm needed here right now. So we'll have another little niece around here soon. And so I'm like, Lord, okay, I'm not patient. And so I happen to be on the phone with him, and I'm like, I'm in traffic and I'm laughing at this other car, and any other time it would piss me off. And I'm like, I couldn't do nothing but laugh, because I'm like, God, I see what you're doing in this moment. I understand exactly what it is that I needed to be patient in the situation. It wasn't time for me to go, because you already saw what was coming ahead before I even understood. And so as I'm saying this, he's in the background basically being an amen corner, because I'm on the phone with him, and he's like, don't I know it? Don't I? I was like, sir, nobody asked you anything. He talking about what? I'm agreeing with you, but I didn't ask you to. I didn't ask you to agree with me. And he was like, I said, I know that I could be stubborn and hard headed. He was like, so can. I said, okay, you know what? I don't, he talking about, but I'm agreeing with you. I said, I know you agreeing with me, but I don't like your tone and how you agreeing with me. Like, just be quiet and let me and Jesus have this conversation, because I know I'm impatient. I know I'm stubborn. I know I'm hard headed, and I know I expect certain things when I expect them. And so he's like, but I'm not disagreeing. No, you're not disagreeing with me. You are very in alignment and agreement with, he's talking about, I was agreeing with Jesus, because Jesus know exactly the child that he created. Sir, be quiet. You know what? I'll talk to you when I get home. I don't want to talk to you no more right now, because he's talking about, but I ain't even say nothing though. I'm just, he said, Steve, Jesus, that's your child right there. Yeah, exactly. I am. So we just gonna leave it at that. But I have clear non-negotiables. He has his clear non-negotiables, but I am also learning how to, I can't necessarily say soft girl space or whatever, because I don't necessarily know what that is, but I'm learning, and it's hard, because it's like he opens the doors, he, carries the bags, he does all of these things. If I'm in the mood having a bad day, he doesn't let my emotions dictate how he responds to me. And that's not always easy, because I know I can get on your nerves, because I tell myself sometimes I'm getting on my own nerves and I need to time out. So it's like he just be like, okay, you mad, because I realize when you hear people say if he wanted to, he would. And I'll give you two clear examples of if he wanted to. That the AC unit, when it was real hot during the summer, it was just excruciating hot. The AC unit wasn't working. The rental office wasn't trying to come out, and I was irritated. I was hot with being with Kiara. It's already issues, and so he was like, "Well, you need to call." I was like, "Sir, I've already done everything that you're trying to tell me to do." And I was just like, "It's hot in here." Well, did you turn this out? Sir, I have done everything you have asked me to do. Please stop asking me. So I'm irritated with him at the fact that he's asking questions out of concern. So I don't think anything else of it. Why did this man come down here, brought a unit for the window, and actually went, and we went to the grocery store to get groceries and everything. Now it is 8 o'clock at night. He has driven from Charlotte all the way down here to ensure that I was going to be comfortable and I didn't have to worry about anything. And then he went back. Like today, he came down. He worked all night last night, and he called this morning. He was like, "Open the door." Sir, I'm half asleep. What are you talking about? Open the door. Open the door. He came with breakfast, took my son to work,
Shout
and
out
then
to
we
the
went
brother-in-law.
and got groceries and everything, made sure that my car was filled up my put air in my tire, and gave me my Starbucks money. And then he went back, and he has to go
Now,
to
see,
work
that's what I'm talking about.
Right.
tonight. And so it's like I'm learning how
Be
to,
giving us hope over here.
I'm learning how to be in the space of not worrying. And so when I get,
Yeah.
it's like I don't know how to just be. And he's
Yeah.
like, just sit down. Like, you got stuff that you are focusing on. I'm here to support whatever it is. You just got to tell
Yes.
me how. And I'm like, well, sir, I don't even know how to ask for help in the right way. Like, I don't know how to do that. And he was like, well, if it makes you feel like you're asking, don't put it in question form. Just mention it. And it's done.
Mm.
And that's
Mm.
basically what I'm learning. And so I'm still learning not to
Wow.
touch the door, to open the door to get out the car. And
Um.
so when I do it, he be like, oh, so you just gonna open the door. My bad. I close it back. So I gotta close the door back so he could come and open the door. And so I'm like,
Oh,
I'm
that's
not used to
sweet.
that. So it's like I'm learning. And he's
Yeah.
like, you just ain't gonna get it. You just hard headed. And I'm like, sir, it's not necessarily I'm hard headed. I've literally lived life in survival mode. And
Mhm.
Right.
even when I was married, I was still taking on the responsibility of
Mhm.
being the head of my house
Mhm.
because I had literally four children that I was taking care of,
Mhm.
not just me and my husband. It was me
Mm.
and the children and then
Mhm.
him. And so it was like,
Whew.
what do I do in this sense? And
Mm.
so now it's like, okay, and not only does he embrace me, he embraced my children. And so, and my grandchildren.
Blessing.
So he talks about how I spoil my grandbaby. But y'all, let me tell you, we in the store today. And he's like, did you get Moo her ice cream? Did you get her cereal? Did you get her? And I'm like, sir,
Who's the grocery for? Y'all or the baby?
right, right.
Baby.
And so he making sure that she gets all of her stuff. And
That's
I'm like,
sweet.
you talk about me spoiling her, sir. You are the epitome of what it is. Like, you might tell me
Um.
no, but you're not gonna tell her no. And
Um.
so every morning, like if he knows I'm gonna have her, the first thing he's gonna do is she there yet? Has she got there? And I'm like, she gonna be here in a minute. Oh, okay. Well, call me. Like I had to call him yesterday when she got here. She wasn't here very long, and so I called him, and so he had to make sure that he talked to her. So it's like
Um. That's
you when you
sweet.
find somebody that includes you, and
Yes.
also like his family makes me feel like I'm part of the family, even without the I do, and
Mm.
that's
That's
new to
it.
me, you know, and
Mm.
so it's like his mama, his grandma, his brothers, and it's like it's different, and so I'm learning to embrace this space, and so divorce isn't final. It's one of those things where that was the end of an era. It was an end of a time. It was an end of a relationship that you thought had a happily ever after. But if God wasn't attached to that happily ever after, it was just the beginning of the end of what was there. And when you keep God included, because anytime we have a disagreement or anything, we both go to God first and ask for clarity, understanding, so that we can
That's
communicate
it.
together. And so if I, because I'll tell him, look, I need to talk to God, and he'd be like, look here, girl, I'm gonna call you back because me and God need to talk about this, and I'll call you back. And,
Um.
and
That's
he
good
might
though.
say something. He'd be like, okay, I'm talking to God. Mm-mm. And so we pray for each other, and we pray with each
Wow.
other as
That's
well.
beautiful.
And
That's
so
beautiful.
it's a good space that we have, and I'm still learning to navigate this because it's new and it's different. um Marriage is not the end goal, it's the beginning, because you are going to learn each other as you continue to build the relationship together. And most people think that saying I do is the beginning, but the beginning was already when you first met and you started, and the
That's what.
end result.
That's where my
Yeah,
beginning started.
yeah,
Before the idea, I was a
yeah,
wife before I was even a wife
yeah.
because
And see,
we
that's
met.
the
We met
thing.
in school. Both of us was disabled. He was, as you would say, not the same tone. but you would hear that tone
Mhm.
in his voice. So
Yeah.
people would hear him on the phone and they thought he was, but they would hear me on the
Honey,
phone and
anytime
thought I was the
somebody
other.
hear me on the phone, they be
And
like,
they
I
think
don't
I'm the
call some
other.
white
Yeah,
girl.
yeah, exactly. The only way they would know mine is not like that is because of the name. It's like, wait a minute, that don't match up because wait a minute, she got a black name, but wait a minute, she sound like a white girl. Yeah, so he would
Because,
have me make appointments or get on the phone because I knew how to talk. I knew
hmm
how to, cause that's just the way I followed my mom's lead. So I would just talk, I just follow what she did. And he would just be like frustrated and kind of hood about it. So when people talked to him, they thought he was, and I would say, no, he's not. They say, you lying. I said, I'm looking right at him. How can you tell me I'm lying? I'm looking right at him. He's not. So, but mine didn't start off, I didn't have any domestic issues. I think mine was more of the fact that I was harder on myself, uh, emotionally wise, meaning that I didn't really care for myself. I was a cutter. I didn't want to be here. Being adopted, I felt like no, my biological parents didn't want me, but my adopted parents did. But it's still the enemy still played on my
yeah,
emotions with that. And then moving from a big city to country, start getting teased because why? Because you're the only disabled chick. So that made it even worse.
yeah,
So when I got with him, depression was already in me. It just my mom's passing just let it sit in. It just let it smoothly roll right on. And we
so
just kind of just
listen, we can keep this conversation going all night. But we gonna continue tomorrow night because Tanya wants to do it on her show. So we gonna
okay.
keep some extra stuff for tomorrow. So tune in, y'all, for part two. But I thank you, Tanya, for actually being the visionary for this book because it is one of those stories that people need to know that yes, marriage is a beautiful thing when two people are aligned according to God's will and his purpose. And so
Mhm.
when you're aligned and committed to actually loving each other through the good, the bad, and the indifferent, but learning to communicate through all of those things, because it's not always going to be rainbows and sunshine. There's going to be some
Right.
storms that you're going to have to encounter to get
Mhm.
through to each and every task that comes before you. But learning
Mhm.
to put God first in the midst of those complicated situations will be one of those things that. Thank you, Miss Cheryl. That God is putting you together for a purpose. And if your purpose isn't aligned with what God has for you,
Mhm.
it won't work. It doesn't matter how many times you want to push and try to force the issue. If God is not in it, it's not going to
Mhm.
prosper. It's not going because
Mhm.
God will match you with the person that is prepared to propel you to the purpose that He has for you. And
Mhm.
once you are aligned, everything that you've been praying for, praying and positioning yourself for, God is going to elevate it. It's going to come to reality if you are aligned with what God has for you. Because a lot of
Amen.
times we get off course. But I thank everybody for tuning in tonight because y'all know once I get to talking about God and what He does, I get going and
Yes.
we'll be here all
Hello.
night. And I don't want to do that. So, as I always say, stay out of God's business. The only thing He needs you to do is be obedient to what He's called you to do. Because that's what I do. I be hard headed sometimes, but I try my best to stay obedient. He be looking at me sideways, but I'm obedient to what He's called me to do. I love you guys and thank you for being here tonight.
Good night.
Good night.